You see it just like I do. People every single day going broke to try to look wealthy and to try to prove to you and I that they actually have more than what they have. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly why they do it and how McDonald's foods will expose everything and give you a clear indication of exactly why they do it. So stay tuned. Now, I want to show you 5 fake signs of wealth. And there's probably a lot more, and at the end of this video, I'm going to ask you whichever ones that I don't list, please list below the other fake signs of wealth that exist out there, because we see them every single day. Now, I will tell you, one sign of fake wealth is high income. And really, high income is somewhat deceptive because it's not really about income, because a lot of times what people get is not income, but it's revenue. And there's a difference between income and revenue, because revenue is just something that you generate. You know, people can have a lot of revenue, but they don't have any money. They're still broke. And even though they're bringing in a lot of money, it doesn't matter how much you make. What matters most is how much you keep. And there's a lot of people that make a lot of money, but they don't keep any of it because it flows to everybody else except them, and they have no assets to back it up. And there's so many people that want you to know exactly how much they make. You know, so for instance, and I mean, we can go on the business side or the employee side. Like, there's a ton of people that make millions and millions of dollars every single year using Amazon. But what they don't tell you is that after everything is paid, they might walk away with $30,000 or $40,000. Now, that's just real across the board, and you don't even have to take my word for it. Look it up for yourself. But people are making tons of money, but guess what? Amazon is like the house. The house is always going to win. It might let you make $1 million, but guess what? You're gonna pay 909, something thousand, and you're probably gonna be left with about $30,000. I think sometimes they get caught up more so in how much they make, but not in how much they keep. They're more focused on impressing than investing. So they invest more in impressing you than they do investing in their financial wealth or their generational wealth or even wealth in themselves. And it's like, whenever you invest more to impress, you're going to go broke every single time. And something else that's really, and we see this all around us, is people investing in the latest. Now, what do I mean when I say the latest? Meaning like the latest iPhone, the latest clothes, the latest tech gear, like the latest of whatever. And these companies are brilliant because they know that if I do 3 updates a year, or even if I do 2 updates a year, that there is a large group of people that are all about the latest, and they feel like they have to have the latest, that they're going to come rushing at the A to get it. And so what do? They build up this anticipation of the next thing coming, and you have all of these people that are like a herd where they like line up sleeping outside just to try to get the latest or whatever, and they want to be the first. And if you think about it, people go through all of this trouble being the first, when if you wait a week, everybody has access to the same thing that this person spent all of this time, money, and effort trying to get. And here's something that I think is really unfortunate, is that you take people that have, like maybe they're 40, 50 years old or even older, and they've been working at a job for at least, let's be generous and say 20 years. So they've been working for 20 years. And then you have somebody who has a newborn baby. A newborn baby that's 3 days old have a higher net worth than some people that have been working 20 years of their life, because they have a negative net worth. Like, they spend all of their money on the latest, whatever it is. And so you think about it, how unfortunate is it that a brand new baby, that they don't have a job, they can't even hold their head up straight, but they have a higher net worth than people that's been working at a job for 20 plus years. The reason is because people feel like they have to have the latest of whatever it is. And so it's like they're buying, the watches, the computers and all of the tech stuff and the clothes, and it's causing them to go further and further in debt. But something else that's also unfortunate is that there's a lot of people that's renting wealth. Like, they rent cars, they rent houses, they rent boats, and then they take all of these pictures next to all of these things that they don't even own. And I know if you've been on social media for any period of time, you see this. Like, I see, like, even on the back end, because like my family actually owns businesses where they actually rent boats, like they rent their homes and they rent their cars, things like that. And you would be amazed at how much people will save. Not just spend, people will save up their money for weeks or months at a time to rent these items just for a photo shoot or just for a video shoot. And then they go right back to doing it all over again for the next video or the next photo or whatever. But it's like so many people are renting wealth and they don't own anything. Hey, my family with their business, they're doing great. You know, from a business perspective, that's awesome. However, the thing that I think about is that there's somebody on the other end that's really irresponsible. And I'm not saying that they're bad, they're just being irresponsible with their money, and it's furthering or actually putting their wealth so far that they'll never be able to reach it because they keep searching for something that they'll never get and how they're going about doing it. And I told you in the very beginning of this video that I was going to show with you something like how McDonald's and the like how that all comes together. So I'm not sure if you ever had McDonald's before, but I haven't had McDonald's in like years, you know, probably at least about 7 or 8 plus years. Like I haven't had McDonald's in a long time, but I remember one of the last times that I ate McDonald's, it was probably about 90 minutes later. I was full at the time, but about 90 minutes later, I was hungry. Like I just didn't even eat. So much so that I questioned, like, man, I thought I had 8, you know, but maybe I didn't. And what I learned from that is McDonald's has food that has empty calories. Meaning that you can eat all of this food, you can feel full in the moment, but because the calories are empty, it doesn't stick. So you're hungry a very short period of time later. I'm not sure if you ever experienced that before. And that's equivalent to a lot of people when it comes to them having temporary joy, temporary happiness, temporary fulfillment. It's like their life is like the empty calories at McDonald's. And I'm a firm believer that, listen, if you starve yourself spiritually, but you focus more on the material items, it's like you're never going to be able to fulfill that thirst and that hunger for more, because it's like whenever you focus specifically on the material items but you starve your spirit, like you'll never have enough. And I'm a firm believer that on the flip side, it's like if you truly feed yourself spiritually, mentally, and emotionally, then you have so much less of a need and even a desire to a certain extent for material items, because whatever you think that material item is going to give you, you already have that feeling from what you experience from a spiritual, mental, and emotional perspective. Because the reality is this, the two most valuable things that we have in this lifetime is time and relationships. And time and relationships, depending on how you utilize those things, they're going to help you grow and feel phenomenal from a spiritual perspective. And so many people neglect those because they're trying to get this feeling from something that it can never come from that source, which is material items. Because what it does is you can eat all of this food like McDonald's, you get full at the moment, but 90 minutes later, you're hungry again because you're eating empty calories. And so many people are focusing on empty calories, not realizing that they will never get full by consuming it. And another sign of fake wealth is having platinum credit cards. You know, like there are so many people who, like, they get these different credit cards from a status perspective, because it's like they feel special because they can get these platinum credit cards and everybody else can't get them. And it's like, when you think about it, number one, they're already in debt, but then they're paying $500 or $600 per year just to have this card. Now, hear me out. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with the platinum credit card. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with, you know, having even material items. I'm not saying anything wrong with that. However, what I'm saying is this: when people go broke to try to prove that they have something more than what they do have, or people go broke trying to prove that they are something that they're not, that's the issue. Because if you're in the negative, I go back to the baby analogy. If you have a negative net worth, or a 3-year-old or a 3-day-old baby have a higher net worth than you, then I think that's something that caused you to evaluate what you're spending your money on. Because there's no way on this planet that a 3-day-old baby should have a higher net worth than somebody who's 40, 50 or plus years old who's been working for at least 20 years. It just should not happen, you know, from a logical perspective. And so a lot of times people get these platinum credit cards just to put themselves in a category of status. And guess what? These credit cards are brilliant because what they do is they give you these different perks, and they understand that if they give you these perks, you're going to spend more, you're going to carry more of a balance, and you're going to not only pay that annual fee, but you're also going to pay the idiot tax. And what do I mean when I say idiot tax? Meaning that if that interest rate is 25%, 29%, 32% even, you know, you're paying a high interest rate on something that you bought for a certain, you know, fee, but you're paying this high interest rate for years for something that you don't even enjoy anymore. Like there's so many, and like the average person that has credit card debt, like they have credit card debt for years. So what does that mean? That means that you might buy something and it takes you 3, 4, 5 years to pay off what you bought. And it's like, you don't even remember what you bought, even though you're still paying for it. And when people get these platinum credit cards, it just inspires them to spend more. In addition to the interest rate that they're gonna pay, they also have to pay these annual fees just to keep the card. Now, hear me out. If you use the card right, it's a brilliant investment. Now, it's a difference between using a credit card and using a credit card as an investment. Because there's a lot of people that I know that use these cards, and what they do is they pay them off every single month, so they're never accruing interest, but they're getting all of the perks. Most people can't do that. And here's the other thing. A lot of people that I know that have these different platinum cards, they're not telling everybody what they have because they're not doing it for the reason of getting somebody else's validation and approval. And a lot of times when you see people that want you to know, oh, I got this platinum card and I get to do that, it's like they're trying to get full from empty calories. It's not gonna happen, And when you think about people that have these different cards, for a lot of them, even if they would have just kept the other cards that didn't have this much of a annual fee, they would have been better off just using those other cards, because even though they have debt on those too, it's like at least those don't have a $500 or $600 annual fee that they have to pay just to use a card. So think about this. These people might have 3 or 4 or 5 or 7 other credit cards, but they want this other credit card because it says platinum. It put them in a platinum status. And they pay $500 or $600 a year just to have another card that has another name on it. But they still owe money on all these other cards. So the likelihood of them paying off this card is slim to none. And these credit card companies are brilliant because they understand the status play. And it's like, look, we will let you look fake rich all you want to as long as you keep building wealth for us. And that's exactly how it is. And I'll tell you this, another way where people have fake wealth is by having 6-figure vehicles. Now, years ago, a 6-figure vehicle, it was like something phenomenal and it stood out from everybody else's, but now a car that costs 6 figures is somewhat common. And then you have all of these people that's paying, $1,500, $2,000, $3,000 a month for a car note. And sometimes we might see these people and think because of their car, they have some kind of wealth, and they don't. They're broke. Because even a lot of people that make a lot of money, a lot of them, they live hand to mouth. They live paycheck to paycheck. They live for the weekends, and now they have to spend the next week paying for what they enjoyed, a week ago. And so it's so many things that people do to fake their wealth. And it's like, if you just pay attention, they will reveal to you that they are actually broke because they're eating this food that have empty calories and it's not getting them full. That's why they have to keep consuming. And it's like, when you're not a producer and you're only a consumer, then guess what? You're making somebody else rich, and they understand that as long as they keep feeding you, you're going to keep buying. And as long as you keep buying, you're going to keep going in debt. And as long as you keep going in debt, then you're going to keep finding some other thing to keep you trying to keep this status of fake wealth going. And it's only a matter of time before the house of cards, they all come crumbling down and they fall. Now, I don't know about you, but I know that if you've watched this far, you see fake wealth all across the internet, and you see people that are trying to act like they have something that they don't. And the reality is this, those people are probably phenomenal people even behind and in front of the fake wealth. They just don't feel like they're enough. Because a lot of times people have to feel like they are something that they're not, or try to fake like they have this or that. It's because they themselves don't feel like they're enough. And I remember one of the most damaging pieces of advice that lingered in my family for a very long time is fake it till you make it. And that damaged so many people in my family, because what it communicated is that I have to fake because I myself am not enough. And it appears to me that so many other people got the same message in their family too, even if it wasn't said directly how it was directly said to me. But it's not so much fake it till you make it, but I believe it's be it till you see it. And that's a whole nother, video within itself. But the thing that I want to ask of you is this: like comment, and subscribe. And if you're new, I want to ask you to really consider subscribing. And here's the thing, there are so many things that people do to fake wealth, and I only named 5. There's probably a ton more. So if you would list below, what are some other things that people do to fake their wealth that maybe I didn't mention before? But again, I appreciate you sharing this video in advance. I appreciate you commenting, and I appreciate you subscribing. And please share this video with either 2 or 3 other people who you think can also benefit from it. Not that they are experiencing fake wealth, but they have the same awareness and consciousness as you do, and just could get a kick out of this video as well. So I look forward to seeing you on the next video.